What's up everybody, I'm Derek, this is Rocking eForge, and today I'm going to be forging my favorite style of bottle opener, and I'm going to be putting a couple of different twists on a few of these bottle openers, so let's get rocking. So for this style of bottle opener, I am starting with a 4-inch piece of 3/8 inch square stock. You can go longer, you can go shorter. I've found success regardless, but 4 inches I think seems to be the nice sweet spot of something that fits well in your hand, but isn't too big or too long to be unwieldy. And to start, I'm going to come to the near edge of the anvil and start a two-sided taper. And I took the first about 1/4 inch and I forged that down to a kind of a tail, so to speak. It was about 1/4 the original stock size. And the next heat, I'm going to come in and forge that into a forward taper. And I'm going to put a rat tail scroll on there and then scroll that over to become a decorative loop that you can use to hang on the wall or what have you. And I'm going to do that on all three. You don't need to watch all of them. This is what this is actually closer to what I normally do. I usually get about anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches of this little tail. The next thing I'm going to do is chamfer all these corners, and then we'll work our way into the scroll and into forging a little loop. And I like to quench the little rat tail scroll that I did in the previous heat before I come to the horn so that I can actually hit the tail, or hit the scroll itself. And I like to do this process over the horn because it's a rounded surface. If I were to do it over here, I could end up putting a divot in the back of this tail and it wouldn't look as good. So I like to do it over the horn instead. Now the first twist I'm going to do is just going to be a basic regular twist. The only difference being I'm going to chamfer all of the corners, just because I think it feels better in the hand. It looks a little nicer than the sharper corners that the stock just kind of comes with. We're just going to pop this back in the forge and then take this to the vise to put in a twist. And for all of these, I'm only going to twist about the first about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I've got my handy dandy twisting wrench. And I'm specifically making sure that however I twist it, I'm twisting it such that the square cross section up here is back in line with the rest of the stock so that later everything lines up nicely. All right, so the next twist that we're going to forge is going to be a simple split twist. And for that, you don't necessarily need a hold down, it just makes it easier, but I'm going to use my handled chisel, and I'm just going to chisel about, I don't know, 1 inch to 2 inches of each side, as close to center as I can get it. I like the split twist a lot. It's one of the simplest of the kind of more complicated twists that you can do, but I think it looks really nice and really classic for how simple it actually is. All right, so now that we've got that cut in on all 4 sides, and it looks like I've got a little evening out to do, I'm going to even out the length to make sure that they all start and end at the same point, and then we'll take it to the vise and twist it up. All right, so the third twist that we're going to do is one more step up on the level of complexity, and I'm starting with a split twist on all 4 sides, and we're going to go to the bandsaw and cut in on opposing edges, not all 4 edges, but opposing edges. We're going to cut in to the best of our ability to basically meet each cut on each side corresponding to that corner. And what I like to do is just cut on each end of the cut and then cut equidistant between each of those until I've got a number of kind of cubes or rectangles or whatever you want to do here. If you do on either opposing corners, this is going to make a really interesting looking twist without too much time invested. And it's not as important that these lines line up with each other as it is that they look more equal in size up the length of the given edge. All right, so now that I've got all the twists done, I'm going to go in, make sure that the corners are chamfered to the level I want, and then I'm going to bring this to the far edge of the anvil. And I'm going to forge down on the edge, not on the flat, but on the edge of the piece in line with the rat tail scrolled loop that we did earlier. You can do this out of the plane, in the plane, doesn't matter. I just like the way this looks personally. And I'm going to take this down to inside 1/8 of an inch for all three of them. Now you're definitely going to need a hold fast for this stage because I'm going to be punching in the hole for the bottle opener. Then I like to start with a round tipped, like a ball end punch, because just like I just kind of accidentally showed you, if you start that first strike not centered, it allows you to kind of angle the punch and drive that in the direction that you want it to go. And I was able to get that back to center. And I'm going to punch that until the ball end punch has widened that out to the point where it'll fit my flat tipped round punch, and then we'll punch that hole all the way through. Now, before it cools off entirely, what I'm going to do is take a second to grab this in the way I need. And I'm going to flip this over, and you can see a shiny spot on the back that corresponds with the punched portion. I'm going to stick my tongs between my legs. Then I'm going to line my punch up on that shiny spot and back punch that. Go over the Pritchel hole. Just drive that fully through. And that gives a really nice cleanly punched hole. Notably, you want to do that at or below, basically as it's cooling down from a red heat. A very, very dull red, like right before it turns dark is the hottest. You want to do the back punching portion. And that is to make sure that you shear the material out of the hole as opposed to drag it into the hole. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is come in and drift the hole so that it is large enough to fit over my anvil horn. And that forging on the sides helps that release from the drift. And I'm going to do one more heat of drifting before I head to the horn and actually forge that in. All right, so the next step here, I'm going to come to the horn of the anvil. I'm going to knock in those corners very specifically first. And that's because that material is going to spread widthwise, and I want to even everything out before I start actually forging the loop of the bottle opener. Then the big thing here is just forging this down roughly equal, of roughly equal thickness around the outside. And additionally, trying to get the cross section of the loop itself as close to square as possible. because the next step we're going to come in at an angle and forge down on the edge to at least chamfer all the edges, if not turn it into kind of a pseudo round cross section around the loop of the bottle opener. We're going to come in at that angle. And hit my camera tripod. This process really nicely chamfers both the inside and the outside edge, which kind of removes all the sharp corners that could catch on, pocket or whatever. And you're looking for a loop that is, just about 3/4 of an inch. This is plenty big because the final spread will allow this to actually fit over a bottle cap. One of the final steps of making these bottle openers, the hold fast and a ball and punch make a return. And I just use that to spread the steel, kind of a tab into the center of the loop, toward the center of the loop, and that'll actually allow it to hook over a bottle cap and lift up to actually remove the cap. Now you'll notice this is a little lopsided, so I'm going to take this to the horn and correct that. And you can do that in a couple of ways. If you want the portion of the loop to go out a little further, you can go kind of suspend that portion off the horn, the tip of the horn, and not hammer on it, but hammer next to it. And that'll expand that out. Or if you want to take the part that is too far out and push it back toward the center without really messing with the rest of the shape, I go and lay this edge on the horn of the anvil so it doesn't pick up a divot from the sharp edge, and I just hammer on it real lightly. Until you get it to where you want it. And then before I go away from the anvil here, I like to put in a little bit of a curve, an upward curve in the loop, and that's to make it easier to actually go over a bottle cap and hook on to the underside of it and pull up. And then the last thing I'm going to do is lock this back in here, and I'm going to put my touch mark in just above that little spot. And then I'm going to come to my little stump. I'm going to straighten this out laterally. Then I'm going to cool off the tip of that, or cool off the scroll so I don't mess that up, just by quenching that in a bit of water. And then while it's still got a little bit of heat here, I'm going to lay that scroll side down and give that a little bit of shape. And the reason I'm using the stump and this half an axe handle that I've got lying around is I don't want to mess up the edges on the twist. So I use the wood underneath it, which is softer. It'll deform instead of that. And then as a final couple of steps, you can see there's a little bit of surface rust and some loose scale on there. So I'm going to give it a quick brushing. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love a good beeswax coating. And I'm going to use that to seal the steel off from rust, darken things up a little bit, and give it a rust-proof and waterproof coating that I think looks pretty good. And I let that cool down and wiped off the extra wax. So really now all there is to do this 2 more times. And I think they all turned out pretty well. A waste of beer. And that is how I forged 3 kind of varying levels of difficulty. Oh, these are both split twists. And that's how I forged 3 varying levels of difficulty of my favorite style of bottle opener. And I hope you enjoyed. That is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. If you want to support me and the channel further, please consider becoming an honorary striker on my Patreon. That link is in the description below the video. Or please consider becoming a member on my YouTube channel. And as always, keep on rocking.